My TV 53 News at 8:30 is digging deeper right now.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the San Joaquin Valley's only 8:30 News. I'm Austin Reed. Thank you for joining us. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at My TV 53. Hey, we are in the midst of a city council election, upcoming city council election, and tonight, joining us in our news center, we've got a candidate running for city council in Fresno. Tell everybody your first and last name.
I'm Nick Richardson, running for District 6, Fresno City Council. District
6. So, talk a little bit about, so when is the election? When is it coming?
So the election's broken down into two parts. Okay. There's a primary, which will be held on March 5th. So everyone who enters the race prior to the deadline will be on that primary ballot March 5th. Following that, the top two candidates, if no one wins over 50%, will go to the final or the general election in November.
Okay. Nick, tell me a little bit about kind of your background.
Okay. So born and raised here in the Fresno area. District 6, for those of you not familiar, is everything north of Bullard between Blackstone and Willow within the city limits. That's where I lost my first tooth. That's where I learned how to ride a bike. I met my fiance. Those are the people, and that's the community that raised me. So growing up, relatively patriotic family, I decided that I wanted to travel abroad and be an ambassador for my country and show everyone else why I loved America. So I did. I joined the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
Out of high school. My pleasure. They sent me to school with an ROTC scholarship. So I went to the Virginia Military Institute, studied for 4 years, got a degree in political science, a degree in modern languages and cultures. And then from there went to flight school, got a job with the Marine Corps after commissioning as a second lieutenant, flying combat helicopters, UH-1 Yankee Venom gunship. So most beautiful piece of machinery the United States has put together. So after that, or during that rather, that took me around the world. That allowed me the opportunity to travel to Africa, Korea, Japan, Australia, Hawaii, all over South America. And in doing so, I realized that my 10 years of active duty was coming to an end. I was about to come home. So I had all of this, this energy, this drive, this passion for country, this love of going abroad and telling everyone why, Fresno is what it is, why we are not just a place in California, why we're not just the United States. And getting out, now I'm in the reserves, so I moved to the reserve component in October.
Okay.
I still fulfill my obligation 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer, but this gives me the opportunity to bring this fight home, to continue showing people here that I'm here to serve them, just like I've been doing abroad, vaguely for the last 10 years. Now I'm home to do it specifically, and they say if there's a tough situation, you know what they do? They send in the Marines.
That's right. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that you're seeing in District 6 right now that maybe you would either want to improve on or you want to change completely.
Sure. So District 6, all this information comes from talking to people, talking to residents who have been here. While I've been out running and gunning, they've been home, living and driving to work, experiencing the roads, seeing the problems to their left and their right, interacting with their representatives and with their neighbors. Their children are going to school and experiencing the parks. And what I'm hearing from people overwhelmingly is that homelessness, crime, and support for city services are their biggest issues. And I can echo that because all of those things are close to my heart as well. Living in Hawaii, living in Florida, I've seen other interpretations of those problems, and I've seen different solutions to them. And those are the things that people want to address first. And I'm looking for new bosses. District 6, I want to be my boss. So if that's the mission they're sending me on, that's the mission we're going to attack. Homelessness, crime, drug use, we can factor in there, and support for city services.
Let's talk a little bit about the budget. It was just passed, maybe a few weeks ago. What are your thoughts on that? The city budget.
I was excited with the budget. When the budget came out, I was at the city council meeting watching, taking notes. I've been doing my homework, Austin.
You've been going.
I've been going. They say dress for the job you want, not the job you have, right? Well, dressing is only part of the battle. You have to be there and you have to walk the walk in addition to talking the talk. But I think the budget presents some great opportunities for us. Okay. There are a few problems maybe that have been kicked down the road, but I believe that with the huge investment in downtown, I believe with the infrastructure money coming in from the state, and with the record high increase in pay for some of our city service members to include police, fire, EMTs, I think we have a bright future ahead of us. but someone has to be the guide into that future.
District 6 right now is represented by, currently, I'm missing it.
Gary Bredefeld.
Okay, Bredefeld represents District 6. And Gary's been here for a long time.
Correct.
So how are you different from Gary?
That's a great question. So Gary fulfills a very vital role on City Council. Gary is the only member of the City Council who is not of the same political party as the rest of them. Mm-hmm. Gary's also the only veteran on City Council. Now, as soon as he leaves, conservatives and veterans will no longer have someone to speak for them on that City Council. That will be gone. I'm here to fix that. Now, Gary and I, why are we different? Gary and I see eye to eye on about 80% of topics. Okay. There are some things that perhaps due to my generation, maybe due to my experience around the world, that we see differently on. But the most important thing is I appreciate the role that he's been able to play on City Council as a stopgap. Regardless of political party, regardless of identity, regardless of demographic, you don't want an entire council composed of only one, right? You want some disparity. You want someone to speak from the perspective of different individuals, different citizens in the city. And I think it's important that they get that voice. Now, with Gary leaving, despite whether he votes yes on subject matter A or no on subject matter B, it's that important role that he's filled to be able to be a sanity check on the backside, right? To be able to be a voice of reason in some certain scenarios, or maybe to bring up an idea that no one else had thought of, right? So Gary and I agree that that is a necessary task. Someone has to do that. And I think I'm of the ilk, I'm of the dedication, of the passion to be able to do that.
$250 million was awarded to Fresno's downtown. You had mentioned, you were talking about downtown just a second ago. 10 years from now in the city of Fresno, do you see that there's a fly. There's a fly in the studio, everybody. It's summer in Fresno. But yeah, do you see big changes 10 years from now here in Fresno and good changes?
That's up to the citizens. It's really up to the people. It's up to the voters and the taxpayers to figure out who they want to enact change. If we can keep doing the exact same things we've been doing for the last 30 or 40 years, maybe this place will look a lot like it does now in 10 years. If we have a vision for the future, if we have a mind to put in leaders who are convicted, who are driven, right, to do these things for the city, I think there's a good chance that we can use not only that money, but also the new opportunities, right, the new businesses that are opening here, the new attractiveness that Fresno is developing around the world, around the country, and around the state, for people to start their families here, to bring their business here, right? To invest in our infrastructure, to take part in this idea of the Fresno way of life. If we can push that, if we can build this city and drive through the stalwarts of the past in order to create a bright, productive future, absolutely, I think this place can look absolutely better. In 10 years, think about the things that we're capable of with transportation, with the improvements at the airport, right, with tackling and being a front runner in the state as far as the homelessness problem is concerned, with being a front runner and driving out any sort of corruption or illegal activity or anything in all of our city institutions. We can absolutely be a front runner on that, and we can be a shining city on the hill or a shining city in the valley for the rest of the state to look at.
How can people learn more? What's next as well for you?
So what's next for me is what was last for me and what was me last week and the week prior to that. I'm going to be out walking these streets. Okay. This is a great time for me because when it's 112 degrees outside, my competitors don't want to walk.
That is true.
Because they're sane and they're of their right mind. Being a Marine, walking outside with no pack on, not in the rain, that's just a Tuesday for me.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's next for me is what I've been doing. I'll be putting my feet on the pavement, out there, shaking hands, knocking on doors, handing out flyers, passing information, just so people can really understand who I am, what I want to do, right? In the short term, what we have coming up next, we have a fundraiser coming up on Tuesday. It'll be 3 to 6 p.m. at Cigar Mas Fino on Cedar and Knees. That'll be up. However, we have interviews with unions, with labor organizations coming up, with city services coming up. Be listening on the radio, be watching on TV. We're getting the message out there, and it's really encouraging because the more people I encounter who get to know more about me, the more support I get, the more they want to help, the more they agree with the things that I'm telling them. And it's really encouraging, and the momentum's not going to stop now. I can promise you that.
Do you have a website, campaign website? or
we
Facebook?
do. We're
or?
on all the social media.
Okay.
We can probably put the link somewhere.
Yeah.
But feel free to follow us on Instagram at Nick's Got My Six, because just like we say in the military, when you got someone's back, you got their six.
Yeah.
So District 6 knows that. Follow us on Twitter at the Fresno Firebrand, and follow us on Facebook at Nick Richardson for District 6. And you can keep up with all the fun campaign events and all the efforts that we have going on.
And March 5th will be here very soon.
Before you know it.
I know, exactly. Nick,
We'll be ready.
Thank you so much. Good to meet you.
Austin, thank you.
Appreciate your time. I'm Austin Reed. You're watching the news at 8:30, and we're back with more right after this. Don't go away.